What's up, everyone? Happy Aloha Friday. Skyler Stokes here, along with my good brother, Mr. Chad.
What's up, everybody? Aloha Friday. Skyler, right off the bat, I want to remind everybody to share the spirit of aloha today, man. I've been
Yeah,
having not enough aloha in my life this week, so just a reminder, everybody, be friendly, be grateful,
yeah,
and keep everything in a loving, positive light if you can.
yeah. Compassionate, and that's actually really, really interesting, dude. I was thinking about our conversation last week with Rich, and I feel like the last week in particular, I've tried to kind of just keep that mind frame or that
Yeah,
that mindset, just like being grateful, being like more positive, and starting to try a schedule and a routine, because it sounded as though that was something that really helps get
how's that
people.
working for you?
It's good, actually,
So far, so
surprisingly pretty good. I mean, it's hard with the baby and work and
nice.
things as it is, but it's doing everything that I can to create that, I
You're a busy
guess.
man, my friend. Busy
Yeah,
man.
everyone's
What
busy in their
about,
life.
you know what, actually, I was going to ask you, and I'll just ask you now because I was going to ask you before. How has the market responded to increased, lockdowns and everything? We kind of were locked down for a couple months and everything was lax, and now we're going back to lockdown. Has that directly affected the markets? Because I honestly don't know.
Yeah, the stock market, it hasn't actually really made that big of a difference, and it hasn't made it move that much. I think that as we've continued to move through this whole pandemic, there's been moments where, like a pharmaceutical company would say, hey, we're doing really good stuff here with a vaccine. We're getting close to, having it be produced and human trials and everything. And so in the last couple of weeks, as people are still on unemployment, people are still receiving, money, there's still a lot of funds that are being distributed to individuals and to businesses and that kind of thing. So I think that's helped prop things up. Um, but as this last couple of weeks has happened, when we started to kind of lock things down again, you'd expect that we, as at least the economy is concerned, like we wouldn't actually be doing as well as the market says we're doing. But we have to remind ourselves that the stock market's a leading economic indicator, and it tells us, and it basically is the expectation of what we think companies and the valuation of those companies are going to be in the future. And that's basically why you buy and sell stocks, because you think a company's doing really well and you want to be a part of it, or you think it's going to do really well and you want to see it, you want to be part of that growth, or you think it's not going to be,
It's gonna tank.
yeah, or you think it's
So,
it's not going to do well, and then you want to sell, and that way you don't, you're not participating in the losses of the company.
right.
So again, I think through this whole the last couple of weeks, we've started to shut things down, but because we have hopes and optimism on a vaccine, um, and I think, when it comes to the way that states um, have tried to keep things open by being more responsible, or having people be more responsible with wearing masks and having those kinds of mandates, I think things are still going to maintain at least some level of uh, of openness. But it's just really hard to tell whether or not um, the amount of traffic or the amount of business that these companies are, getting is enough to sustain, them through this, this time period. So
Right.
it's kind of tough. It's hard to say, but again, I think that as we're looking at the market as it is right now, um, it hasn't really changed very much. And in fact, some of the stocks and some of the companies that are inside of these indices that we see as the broad markets, they're continuing to go up, because they have, good cash flow, balance sheets, that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
again, as I was explaining a little bit ago in, I think, a previous episode, um, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are heavily weighted in technology, and basically 6 technology companies. And as those companies continue to make money through this pandemic, because they're, they very well insulated with, good revenue, it's helping prop up the market. And so when people see that, they're hoping to get in and participate in some of the upside. So I think that's basically what's been happening. So
right on.
yeah. What about your last few weeks, man? How's things been with you? Tell me about
buddy.
some things that
This
have been
week in
happening.
particular has been very interesting. I think, in real estate, every transaction is different, and every transaction has its own challenges and its own ups and downs. Sometimes they're super easy and streamless, and sometimes they're like this, and they can be a nightmare. And a lot of people, once they get into a transaction as a buyer or a seller, they understand what goes into it a lot more than most people think. And you also got to think, most families or most people will maybe at most go through a real estate transaction between 2 and 5 times in their life. So it's a big deal, and there's a lot of working parts. So last few weeks for me have been good. Closed a big one in Rancho Santa Fe. Have another couple pending. One of them has been tricky, and I'll talk on that one next week once we figure out the solution to that one. As far as the market is concerned, the median home price in San Diego County is $675, which is an 8.2% increase from last year. So the values are continuing to trend upward. The supply is low and the demand is still high, despite the pandemic, despite anything else that's going on. So it's technically a seller's market. I do see multiple offers. I know we've talked about this a couple times, but I do see multiple offers coming in on this stuff that's, if you think about pricing stuff between 4, 5, 600,000, there's more people that can afford that median price point. As you go up in price, the pool of people that can afford it gets smaller, or the pool of people that are looking for that type of real estate gets smaller. So you do see multiple offers on the median priced stuff given any zip code, but the luxury stuff I've seen sit a little longer than I think most people would hope, but it sells eventually. So you just have to implement some strategy on pricing and marketing. And it's also harder to market right now because we're not allowed to do a lot of things still. When we talked about this in the first episode, nothing's changed. In fact, every single day the rules and regulations change somewhat, but they're getting stricter than they were 2 weeks ago, again, just like everything else. So no open houses, you can't have flyers inside. There's a lot of additional forms people have to sign now just to view a home. So it's challenging times, but I think the market is still healthy enough for agents that typically do a certain amount of business are doing fine, and people that are looking to sell are really doing fine because the supply is so low.
I got a solution for dealing with with dealing with not being able to go in. You should just sit in your car and fly a drone through the house and just take pictures and videos and photos and
I'll have my boy Ollie Patterson fly his drone through there. I probably love it.
There you go. Yeah, that way no one needs to go in.
Yeah,
take care of it.
Tricky, it's been different, and I actually have an article in front of me, and I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I'm missing here. I've seen some. So this is basically telling me that certain buyers are withdrawing their offers and certain sellers are removing their homes from the market, which kind of corroborates what I was talking about in May. The prices have still gone up, but the amount of sales was down 41% from the year before. In May, for example, which is crazy because the last time it happened was 1991. So for that amount of sales in May in San Diego County. So, it's like I said, it still works out good for sellers, and, stuff in that median price point, you're going to see 3, 4, 5 offers pretty quick if it's priced right and presented properly.
You were just talking about the kind of median price point and how that category is really competitive. what types of properties are in that kind of median price range?
I mean, it depends. Any given zip code will have, a different median. Like, I live in 92011, which is Southwest Carlsbad. The median here is obviously a little higher than, that in Santee. So, in San Diego County as a whole, it's 675. In certain neighborhoods, you're still going to see, out in Vista and Oceanside, and probably not a lot in Carlsbad, but for 675, for example, you can get a single family home with maybe a little bit of land, no HOA for 675. But if you go into any Carlsbad zip code with 675, you're not going to be getting a single family home. You're going to be getting a townhome or a condo. You need to bump that up above at least 850 in any Carlsbad zip code to get a single family home.
Do you
So
see,
it sort of depends.
do you see like a lot of people moving with that kind of price range? Do you see them moving into like the Santee and kind of more East County areas, or?
To be honest, I don't do a whole lot down south personally, but you will see, like, for example, I do a lot in Vista and North County and San Marcos. So, I see people that are kind of like, I don't know where to go, but I want a single family home. I don't want a condo. I don't want a townhome. That statement alone is going to sort of dictate where you end up or what your options are, obviously. So, there's certain areas, that I recommend people. I personally love Vista. I'm a little biased. I grew up there, but I think it's a good buy. I think it's a good bang for your buck. You want to go spend $675 there, you can get a single family home on more than maybe a half acre or more, and have no HOA and live a nice rural lifestyle. You're still only 15 minutes from the beach. So it just sort of depends on the buyer and what they really want. But
I'm a huge proponent for Vista. I think that's I don't want to say like the last frontier, but it's definitely one of the gems of North County that I think a lot of people have.
I know that certain people watching this, whether it's an agent or, even clients of mine, there's been certain clients that are like, well, we thought about Vista. I'm like, well, let me take you there, for example, because for what they wanted to spend, I truly thought it was the best option for them. And then they've gone there and driven through and gone down to the breweries and the cool downtown area and been like, yeah, I could do this. And then they ended up buying there. But like I said, I've also had clients, my buddy Luke McClure, he sold his house in Vista and then was stepping up his price point quite a bit, to like the 850 mark. And he was able to get into Carlsbad in a single family home with a nice yard. But that's sort of you're going to get $200,000 difference to be that much closer to the beach.
Right.
It's quite a bit of money,
So a few pennies.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's all good. I think, everyone, I was just telling, a friend yesterday, just keep pushing and keep working and keep your head down and, stay healthy. And that's really all you can do right now. For those of us that are blessed enough to be able to make money in this sort of a weird times we're living in, it's just super important to just keep on going, and I know that times have been tough for a lot of people and it's depressing and it's hard to keep going and keep pushing. And it's a weird, honestly, a weird freaking world we live in right now. This whole year has been bizarre. And, like we said last week, just keep the positivity, keep the good vibes, keep the gratitude, and keep pushing. That's all there is to do.
Yep, exactly. And plan financially for these tough times. That's the other thing too, like, cause I mean, you can be, everything can be going super well and everything is looking great. All the boxes are checked.
It happens in my business. It happens a lot.
Yeah. And
stuff
then
can get canceled or
and then next thing it's trying to scramble together to make rent or mortgage payments and basically survive. So planning ahead can really make a big difference.
And you can help with that.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're here for, right? Like I'm here to help the planning side of things financially, and you're there to help people find their dream homes and investment properties. So
that's it.
Yeah.
Well, and anybody watching, if there's any topics you guys want us to touch on, or you want to join us on a Aloha Friday, let us know. We're happy to have guests and just bring anybody in that has something they want to share with people. So let us know. Skyler, you got anything else?
I don't think so, my man. I think that's it for this week. Yeah.
Have a good Friday. Crack a beer.
Yeah, it's a little. I got some coffee right now, so
All right.
maybe later.
See you next week. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Aloha.